Yeah, I couldn't believe Joe's story, and he told me you've got a crazy story to tell too. So we'll get to that. But
I don't know if mine's as crazy as his.
well, but
His is hard to top. That was
they're
pretty.
yeah, they're all they're all special in their own way. But like when he started telling that, and he's like, I looked at it and it had a kicker on it. I was like, oh my god, there's no way you'll never do that again, right? This is the same deer.
Yeah.
Wild. Okay, so welcome back to the Caribou Video Outdoors podcast. With me tonight is Stuart Holmes. Welcome, sir, again.
Glad to be back.
Yeah. I wanted to go over a few things. One, you were shooting a new bow this year.
No,
When did you get your hands on that beauty?
Yeah, so this year Joe and I moved over to Mathews and started shooting the Lift X. So I shot the 29.5. Joe shot that 33.
Okay.
That was good question on timing, but it was summer and not too much time before we were about to go on our mule deer hunt in South Dakota. So I think we had a month or so.
Okay.
I think. But yeah, so shot that, hunted with that in South Dakota, hunted with that in Ohio. I haven't really done a whole lot of hunting here in Alabama. I think I've been on one hunt by myself, and it didn't go as planned. But it doesn't really kick up down here until like January. So that's our
I remember you saying that last time. That it's a January thing for you guys. That's wild. It's amazing how it differs depending on where you live.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Mm-hmm. So are you gravitating to the arc too as well? Or are you
yeah, I've got arc.
Oh, you okay? So when did that show up?
Yeah, well, I mean, the arc showed up, I guess, not too long, the week following the launch.
Okay,
we had ours on order well ahead, and then just by the time you get it and all that, I think it was a little bit behind launch date. So yeah, have the arc and like really pumped about that bow.
Yeah,
I made some changes that I've actually been talking about on the the Lift and V3X platforms and stuff like that I'd like to see. Part of it's that limb angle. Really happy to see him kind of go back to even or a little above.
Yeah, I like the this is the first year that I've actually really liked the look of their riser. Like I love the top and the bottom, how it's a little bit thicker. Yep. And how they've added the weight to the cam. Yep. I think they've had that. Have they had that before? Do you know? I can't remember. I think
So back, I mean, this is going back a while, but like on some of the single cams, so their solo cam, they had a like inertia is like inertia cam. I think is maybe I can't remember. It's been so long ago, but it was kind of perimeter weighted cam.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's back. So that's neat. But yeah, it's there's so many changes on it. Even I was thinking like, man, well, what are they going to change on?
Every year,
whole dang noodles change.
So what was the first thing that you noticed performance wise when you, aside from obviously the aesthetic look to it, when you started shooting it, what was the first thing that jumped out like, oh, this is different?
The draw is different.
The draw. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, so the Lift X to me, I mean, it's still very, very linear draw, but like when you get to the back, like, it drops into, basically a pretty short valley. And I think that short valley is still there, but there's a lot less of like, all of a sudden it's over.
Right.
So it feels like, towards the end, it's even more linear, I guess is how I would describe it. Which I really like. I remember when I first got the Lift X and was, drew it and got it back, I was kind of surprised with the shortness of the valley. And how much it kind of like, dropped off in the back. This is, bit, it's like I said, it's way more linear, I think, towards the back end of the draw cycle.
Okay, so it's more of a, you're there before you know it.
Yeah. Well, it's it is, and maybe it has to do something with the limb angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those limbs are still, to me, working in a different direction. Like, a lift X, when the cams go down, it's actually like going back into the riser. And this is kind of like
Curved
sitting.
a bit.
So I wonder if that has something to do with it. Although I know they did some stuff to the cam, which is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I noticed the draw cycle on it. I mean, to me, the Lift X was a ripper bow. I mean, really fast. Had no issues with speed. Was really surprised with how fast it was. And this one is actually picked up. I'm picking up, I think, around 7 or 8 feet per second on the same setup.
Whoa. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
That's
So
good. Yeah.
I'm throwing it through the chrono and stuff and testing different arrows and stuff like that. And yeah, so I was like, oh wow, so I've got even more speed to work with, and playing around. Now it's got me like rethinking, okay, my arrow weight, what am I going to do with that? Because I really don't want to be, over 300 or too close to 300. My sweet spot's around like 290. I'm pretty happy around 290, or even 205 is, great speed. But
Yeah, with my elite ethos I had last year, I think I was in the 280s, 285-ish around there. And then when I got the prime form, I got the performance mods, and I'm shooting a 511 grain arrow at 307 feet per second. It's just wild. That's crazy, right? So I was doing the same thing. I was like, well, like if I can do that with that, like I can start beefing it up a little bit more, and then still get the performance, but you're getting more of a hammer. But then, do you need it? Like
and that's the other thing. So you got a couple options. You can either stay at your same draw weight, beef your arrow up, or you can back off on your poundage and still get the same performance or similar performance. So which is also something cool Mathews has this year. They have a new mod, right? So there is the regular mod everybody's used to, from the lifts and all that, which those work on that mod or that cam. But they have that Z mod, which I've not played with yet, but it's supposed to be even smoother. Yes, you lose some speed.
Sure.
But I thought that was kind of cool for, if you want a little easier experience, I guess.
Yeah, there's definitely a market for people that either don't care and just want something that's easy to pull, or you get the guys later on that maybe can't pull the weight anymore like they used to because they're getting older, and they just want, it's just all about the,
Well, Joe and I were even talking, out west, we're trying to get fast and far, and, we want as much speed as we can. It's, forgiveness in terms of, judging your distances and yardages and stuff like that. And so we got done out there. We were like, well, man, this thing's so fast. We could probably shoot 65-pound mods, and and actually I did for a bit through the 65s on there. Because for whitetail, you're not shooting super long distances, and you're cold. You got a bunch of clothes on. You're sitting in a tree stand. Who wouldn't want to pull a few less pounds?
Oh, for sure.
Still get great performance out of it. But it felt too light, so it was almost holding weight. So 70 is just a great poundage with our draw links and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. This one's at 80 this year.
Oh, wow.
I went up a bit. Big boy. Yeah, it's I can't. Everybody says, you don't need to shoot 80, and you don't. But I'm finding that it's so easy to do it. Like it's almost like, it's that whole argument. When 60 I always think about like in and around when the Carbon Defiant was out, I think 60 or 65 was like the max. Everybody was going for that. And
Yeah.
then someone started shooting 70 and they're like, whoa, like, okay, like, hold on, like, that's enough, right? Like, what are you doing? You don't need to shoot that much weight. Now 70 is the norm, right? And I
Yeah.
think as we go down the road, it could turn to 80 too. But I don't know. How do you think the bow companies are getting with the whole weight? Like, do you think there'll be a wall that we're going to hit where it's like, okay, like we really shouldn't go any heavier than this because it's
Well,
a
I
little
don't
crazy?
know. That's a good question, but it's like, what do you really need?
Yeah.
And to me, the bows are so efficient. And like when I look back at as long as I've been bow hunting and stuff like that, um, and I've shot for the most part, shot a 70-pound bow most of my time, as an adult hunter, but backed off around 68. And at the time, there was some Bowtechs and stuff like that I talked to that, and I think a lot of these were Hoyts, but they said 68 is like really efficient. And I have no idea if that's true or not. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I always set my bows at like 68 and they did fine. But where we are now is, speed. How much more speed do you really need?
Yeah.
That's kind of the question. I like seeing, companies get into, how quiet a bow is, because like that to me is like really how efficient is it? Because if you got all this noise and vibration and everything going through the bow, I just think that's like lost energy somewhere.
Right.
So you're able to, capture as much energy as possible, and not have that. Well, the only place for that to go is through the string and the arrow. Is my thought process. I'm not a physicist or anything like that, but like that's kind of how I think about it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. 80 pounds to me. I've shot 80 pounds. I've had 80-pound bows over the years. In certain bows, that's what I needed to get to the speed I wanted to get to at the arrow
Okay.
weight. So like,
Right.
if I want to be around 285 or 290 and I want to shoot a 470 grain arrow at my draw length, like, all right, I might need 75 or 80 pounds to get there. But I'm much more in the camp now. I guess the older I get, I'd rather pull less weight to get those same speeds. So it depends on the cam, depends on the bow, and it's a bunch of trade-offs, right? So you can have a really fast bow at 70 pounds, but you may not love how it draws. Or you get a longer bow with a little easier cams, you're going to need 80 pounds if you want to get to a certain speed on an arrow weight.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just really, like, a lot of people just need to step back and like think about, what are you trying to accomplish?
Right.
What do we need to accomplish, and what do you really need to have?
Yeah.
And I would argue in most cases we don't really need to have 80 pounds, and we probably don't even need to have 70 pounds. There's a lot of people getting it done out there with 60-pound bows shooting, a 410 grain arrow or something. It's so yeah, I think it's just, what are you going for? What are you trying to hunt? What are you trying to accomplish on that hunt?
So you said you've been playing around with different arrow weights. Where have you been going with your setup?
So, I've been shooting the 5.0s, which is extremely light, shaft. That my build on that puts me around 441 is kind of the 5.0 build. So that's, I think it's a 28.5-inch arrow, 50 grains of brass up front with a 100 grain head, 3 DCA mini sabers, and a lighted knock. If I didn't have the lighted knock, I'd be in the 430 area.
Right.
Which I'm fine. I hunted when last year. Last year's arrow was a 430 grain arrow, and killed a mule deer and 2 whitetail, pretty big bucks, and it did fine. But ideally, my goal is always to kind of be around 450, give or take, 10 grains here or there. But Cody at Easton just sent the FMJ Maxes, so they're that came out last year and kind of got like really overdone by, or kind of outdone by the 5.0 because it was such a great shaft.
Yeah,
Right.
it was kind of in the shadows a little bit,
Exactly.
underappreciated maybe.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
I've been playing around the last couple of weeks with FMJ Maxes, which it's shocking, that build is a 450 grain build, and it's an aluminum, outside of it. And then,
Yeah.
it's your carbon inside. But whenever I, put the lighted knock and everything like that, I'm around 465.
Okay.
And again, that's, pretty happy with that. I'm happy with 440 and I'm happy with 460, 5 or 470 and everything in between I'm happy with.
Mhm.
And out of the arc, I'm, I think 289 with a 465 grain arrow or something. So, and
Perfect.
I'm not like a 30-inch draw. I'm usually around 29.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, if you were an FMJ shooter, you were probably celebrating when they came out because they got a little bit lighter. So,
yeah,
you could do a lot more with that. But and the color change looks nice too with that green.
they are a good
Nice
looking
too.
arrow, man. So when I got him in, my son, he's 12. He comes in, he's like, "Ooh, Dad,
Ooh, those are mine.
those, can I shoot those out of my bow?" And I was like, "Not a 300 spine, my man." But so he inherited my Lift X. So he's like,
Oh, yeah, nice.
he's lefty, so it all works. We keep it in the family.
Oh, perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, where did you go first? Was it mule deer first this year?
Yep. Started in South Dakota for muley. That was
Is it the same outfitter as last year?
same as last year. We went a week earlier, so we were second week in September, and this year we were around that first week. Trying to get on something in velvet. So that guy right there is last year's buck. I don't have this year's back, but yeah, we started out there. And as always, it's a grind of a hunt.
So how did it play out this year? Or is that something you're putting out you don't want to talk about? Because I'm cool with that.
No, it's totally.
I don't want to ruin any production.
No, we have got hours and hours and hours of footage of that hunt. I'd kind of been going through it, sifting through it and stuff like that. And to be, I'll just be really transparent. We didn't end up with the result that we were really, trying to get after.
Okay.
And ended up getting it done on the last day, which last year was same thing. Last day, we had, no wind pretty much the whole time we were out there. And if you're stalking mule deer or you're stalking anything, like, you need wind. That made it extremely difficult. We went after some pretty old muleys, which are extremely smart, and no wind made that, increasingly pretty difficult. But in the end, ended up getting one on day 5 when we had some wind. But it certainly was not any of the bucks that really we were after and hunting. It was kind of a last day thing, and the guy was like, "Man, I would do it." I'm like, "Okay, well." Hard to beat it, 15 yards shooting down a cut bank, and I was at full. He's like, just I'm going to throw a couple rocks to try to get him to stand.
Get him to run a little bit.
Just wanted to get him to stand up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I see his rack, but he was under this cut bank, and I'm like looking at him like, "Man, I don't know." And he's like, "Well, let's throw some rocks and try to get him to stand up, and then you just get it full draw, and then you decide, you make the call." He's like, "But it's the last day, man. It ain't looking good."
Yeah.
So I come to full draw. He throws, I think he ended up throwing like 3 rocks. Finally, he threw a rock directly on the mule deer's butt. He stood up, kind of hopped out a little bit, and I'm at full draw, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, "It's day 5."
Hey, it's a deer.
Yeah, day 5, he's a buck. I think he's like a 4x5 or something like that. But
Hey, man, that's all right.
yeah,
Nothing
no, I
wrong with
mean,
that.
no, not at all. I think every opportunity we get as a bow hunter, but I mean, bow hunting's hard, right?
Yep.
It's just freaking hard, and I don't care what anybody says. And you take the W's you can,
Absolutely. Yeah.
because there's more L's in this game than there are W's.
Oh man. Yeah. No truer statement has been said on here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What broadhead were you using?
For the mule deer, I used a hybrid 1.75.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How did you find that? How did it do?
Killed him dead. He went, I don't know, 30, 40 yards. I mean, it was a really tough shot. I mean, it wasn't a lot of distance, but like how he was angled was a really tough shot. So I ended up trying to basically put it in his back without hitting the spine through lung, and at that yardage, I can put it where I want to. And stuck him, and he went, like I said, maybe 40, 50 yards, something like that, and keeled over on camera. So, I mean, you could
Beauty.
we've got that. You'll probably see some of that footage.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, I think you in the post you said that you don't think you'd laugh so hard. Was there something that happened, or just the company?
when you go with you,
Oh.
you will laugh harder than you ever have. And I mean, like, and like I said, man, like conditions wise, it was not ideal.
Right.
In that hunt, it's probably any kind of mule deer hunt like that. I mean, it is a grind. You're walking, miles and miles a day. Weather's varying. It can be super hot. It can be freezing. Stuff like that. We were just getting our teeth kicked in with the no wind. And so you can do one of two things. You can, sit over there and sulk and be mad, or you can make the best of it. And I think, who you hunt with really can have a kind of determine your hunt. And, with him and I together, we cut up all the time. And the guide that we had same guide at the end of last year, really, really quiet guy, very serious guy. And when he's jumping in and he's laughing and cutting up and everybody's having a good time, it was, yeah, man, it was fun.
That's good. Yeah. It's hard to find hunting partners like that.
It is.
Especially ones that you can, like, it's one thing if you're all hanging out at the same spot and then you go off on your own.
Yeah.
But when you can actually go out and do the deed with the person that you're with, that's hard to find.
It is, and it will test your friendship.
It will. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Especially you're kind of sharing a hunt, and it's like, okay, this stalk's yours, or this day's mine, this day's yours, and whoever's not hunting's carrying the camera, and this thing is freaking heavy, and you're carrying it for miles, and it can really be taxing, and you have more downs than ups. Like I said, it's bow hunting. You've got more downs than ups. And there's times that, I'm over there, pissed or whatever, and he's cheering me up, and, vice versa. So, I think having somebody that's optimistic and encouraging is really, really makes a hunt.
For sure. Have there been any talks about getting into rifles, or are you guys strict bow hunters, do you think?
Man, I grew up, rifle hunting as a kid and stuff like that. And so I've done a lot of it. Joe hasn't. And I think in Ohio, it's like, I think it's they're shooting like 45-70s and, straight wall type cartridge, 357 Legends or whatever. I don't know those calibers because, we can use in Alabama whatever you want pretty much. But for most of the South. So I've killed, I don't even know how many deer with a rifle, as a kid growing up and all that. You can shoot a deer a day if you wanted. And there was 2 deer a day in where I grew up back then. And there comes a point where it's just, for me, it doesn't give me what I want. Now, said, it would be cool to do some long range stuff, or, go out west and, I think, pop something at 800 yards or 1,000 yards. That would be really neat. But it's really hard to get off of archery personally.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's just my thing. So, and my son has now made that transition. So he's done the same thing. He's killed 4 or 5 pretty good bucks. Last year he shot I think a 142 with a rifle down here in Alabama. And this year he's wanting to, bow hunt. So, and with that, he's okay with, all right, let's shoot some does first, and make sure my lethality is where it needs to be before I get in front of a big buck at 20 yards or something like that. So,
right.
Yeah. So, not to say I won't do a rifle hunt, but it'd have to be something really, really interesting, really cool.
Yeah, have to pique your interest for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you done much with your trad bow?
Not this year yet. So, I think last year I pretty much put the trad bow up after Ohio and just exclusively hunted with the trad bow. This year, I mean, I've shot it a lot during the beginning of the season, but when I'm not at the point where I'm going to take it out on a mule deer hunt. I'm not at the point to take it up to Joe's place at those caliber of whitetail. So,
right.
I've found that going back and forth between the two is really difficult to keep your mastery on both.
Yeah.
And I've been so pumped with the Lift X and the Arc and all that I may pull the trad bow out later this season down here, but I'm still pretty jammed up about the new bow.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense for sure. And is that Black Widow you're shooting for trad? Yeah.
Yeah. So,
so sweet.
Yeah. We both I think we both have the PSA and a 62-inch, really, really smooth shooting bow. Beautiful bow. Beautiful.
Yeah, they just look like works of art you want to just hang on the wall and not do anything.
It's hanging on my wall. Hanging on my wall, and they're beautiful. I love shooting it.
Mm-hmm. Now, were you wearing Born Primitive stuff for the South Dakota?
I think a mixture of both.
Mixture.
Yeah, wore the light pants, light Frontiers with some knee pads in it, and then up top, I think for the most part, were like marsupials. Their sun shirts. Those sun shirts are awesome. I really like the material it's made out of, and when it was cold, I'd throw on, a puffy or something and shed that if I needed. But yeah.
Wasn't too much of a temperature swing down there, I guess.
It was. Yeah. I mean, we had freezing days, and then we had some pretty warm days. So.
Okay. The vlogging.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That you can thank Joe for that.
Yeah, that's his idea.
Man, I'm so proud of him for doing that. We've been talking about capturing some of our craziness, what we get into, and it's really hard when you're in a hunt and Joe can tell you, like, when I get in hunt mode and I start getting like mad at him, it's really hard for me to want to pick a camera up. Like I get so tunnel vision. So, he's really, really done a really valiant effort on, and basically let's document this. And that's going into this year, something both of us said, we want to change the style of content we do, even in the photography. It's document style, even photography and stuff. It's not, always just a, staged bow shot or something like that. And bringing some realness of this is what we're doing anyway. And let's capture that and show people what we're doing. And he's really done really killer job with it. Proud of him.
Yeah, like that one he did with his daughter,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're just showing everyday life, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like you said, we're doing it anyway, might as well. But people don't realize like how much work goes into that. Like you got to bring a camera, you got to set it up, you got to frame it right, and then you maybe do a couple takes here and there and drag it with you. And it's the same with
Yeah.
taking it up in the tree. And like my whole season got delayed a bit because of some work stuff that I was doing, and I couldn't. I was studying for something I was trying to achieve at work, and every time I'd try to do something else that wasn't that, my brain was like, you should have your nose in the binder, right? So, so I'm kind of, starting off late, but now I'm like, I don't want to haul out the big camera, but I still want to have something there in case something happens because I still want to capture it, right? And it's like,
No, absolutely.
and part of me is like, just forget it, just do this for yourself and just enjoy it, right? And then part of me is like, yeah, but if it happens, I'm gonna want to see it later.
Yeah, well, and that like seeing it later thing is really another element of vlogs and even like taking photos of stuff that we're doing while we're doing it is like, I want my kids or grandkids to look back and be like, man, so that was my grandpa or great grandfather or whatever. Like it is documented in something that people can go back and relive or get to know people better and stuff like that. So it's a really cool element, and looking forward to doing more of it, really.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
it's people really connect with it too, because it's kind of like when people watch podcasts, it's like they love feeling like they're part of the conversation even though they're not, but they feel like it, right? Because they're watching it unfold in front of them. Yeah, that's cool. So whitetails, how's it been going so far? Did you have a story to tell us, or did you not yeah? All right, let's get into it.
No, let's do it. So eventually you'll see it on the vlog, so I went up to Joe's place this year. Went, I think, around the same time as I normally do. So I think I got up there around the 29th of October. Around Halloween, things really get pretty good up there.
Okay.
So we get up there, I get off the plane, and we get a bite to eat, and he's like, hey, let's go throw a setup and hunt the afternoon. I'm like, cool. Weather's beautiful, leaves are changing colors, and I mean, just picturesque. This place is picturesque, right? So I'm sitting up there, I had some like turkeys come through and stuff like that, and I get a text from Joe, and he's like, hey, I just shot Hightower. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I just got here. What? So, and that was part of the vlog you saw. So we had a really bad rain that came through, and had a lot of issues trying to recover that buck, which was pretty unfortunate. So I'm hoping Joe's able to go, and he hopes he can get after him and try to find him at some point. But we searched high and low in the rain. I think even if you had a drone where this is, like, you can't see through the canopy really, and in that weather and all that was pretty tough. I mean, we looked all day.
Yeah, the blood be washed away too. So
blood washed away. I mean, we had good blood, and like where it was hit was liver shot, and on that, you never ever want to push a liver shot or farther back deer. They're dead 100%. But if you push them, you'll probably lose them.
Mm-hmm.
So we had no option other than to back out. We followed the blood basically where bedding would have started, and got out of there, marked it, and came back the next day and searched high and low everywhere. And that where that bedding is thicker than the gates of hell. But
yeah, you got to fight that temptation to just want to run in there, right?
Yeah, and we'll get there on my buck, right? So
okay.
my buck. So he basically had a hot doe, and there were bucks after her, and I mean, really getting after her. He finally got on that deer, And we noticed pretty much after that, I mean, it was dead. We had rain and bad weather and all that, but they were pretty much locked down. And when they get, and it's usually your first does that are coming into estrus, your bucks will lock down. And it could take them three days or so to kind of get off of that doe, and then start to continue the search and stuff like that and start acting like they normally would. So unfortunately, I think we hit, a lockdown period when I got there. Had some pretty tough weather. So I think it was like day 4. Joe's like, well, let's go set up in this Trojan is what they call it. So it's like a box blind that you can shoot a bow out of. And he's like, let's do some doe management. We've needed to take some does. He took a few last year, but we need to kind of thin them out a bit. I'm like, all right, cool, sounds fun. So we get up that morning, we get in the Trojan, we're getting all set up, and we're finally kind of settled in, and he's yelling at me because I'm wiggling and trying to get comfortable in this little dove hunting stool or whatever, and this thing's shaking. He's like, dude, chill, get comfortable and chill.
Stop moving.
So I was like, a little kid in there trying to wiggle and stuff. Anyway, finally get comfortable. He's like, all right, I'm gonna open the window. He opens the window and he's getting situated. He's like, dude, there's a buck. So it had been I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, just started to get into legal shooting light. And he's like, there's a buck. And I'm like, shut up.
We're on doe patrol.
I was like, I thought he was just messing with me, Joe being Joe, I was like, shut the hell up. And he's like, get your bow right now, get ready. And I'm like, oh, he's serious. So sight unseen, I hadn't seen this buck at all. He's like, he's coming in. And he's like, draw. And I go ahead and I'm drawing. I hadn't seen this thing yet. And because where I'm positioned, I'm on a wall and the window's here. And I can't see anything to the right of me. And that's where that buck kind of came in. And so anyway, this buck comes in and I couldn't see my pins. All it was just black, pins. And I'm at full draw, and it's not like I can hit my light, on the
yeah
sight light or whatever. And made the best I could out of it. But how the deer was angled from my view looked like more of a quartering away shot, right? And it is light enough that it's legal light for sure.
Yeah,
I can see my pins because I'm in this box. But anyway, so and let me preface this. So we've been shooting, we shoot, in the middle of the day and stuff like that. I've been shooting right the whole time. And he's like, dude, you need to put three clicks right, bring it back, and I'm like, fine. So I do a few clicks and I'm still a little bit right, but I'm like, it's close enough, whatever. So anyway, this buck's coming out there. I read him as more, quartering away. Anyway, shot breaks. I feel good about the shot. I didn't even have time to get nervous. There was not even time for fever. I still thought he was screwing with me until this joker, stepped out. So anyway, shot breaks. I hit him and Joe was like, what happened? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, that was really far back. And I'm like, it was back, but he was quartering. And he's like, he wasn't quartering from where I was. He looked pretty, maybe a little bit quartering. And I'm like, he looked pretty quartering from where my view. And I'm looking at his back, his offside leg. And I'm like, maybe it was a few clicks right. But I'm like, I felt good.
Yeah.
No. So anyway, shot breaks, deer, mule kicks, flips around, and the arrow is stuck in him. And I'm like, yeah, it's a quartering away shot. Of course, the arrow's gonna be stuck in him that way. So He runs to the edge of the field and he's hunched over, which is like not good because you got guts, right?
Okay.
That is typically a liver gut shot. And I'm like, well, worst case scenario, in my head, I'm thinking, well, how it went in, yep, I got guts, I got liver, and probably got opposite lung. Like, he's freaking dead. And even if you just hit guts, it is a dead animal. It is a pain to trail.
Right.
You know, it's dead. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, I agree how he's acting. I don't like how he's acting. So we finished the hunt. I think Joe shoots a doe, doe 1 for that day. And we get out and we just go to the edge of the field and there's blood everywhere. And I'm like, dude, that's freaking great blood. I feel good about that. The blood's red. It's not green. It's not brown. It's, you know, good red blood.
It's the right color. Yeah.
Yep. But I know it's not a lung shot or double lung or anything like that. So I'm like, well, we'll go eat lunch, you know, and we'll think about, you know, whether we, you know, look for him later. So we go eat lunch, come back, and I'm like, let's just hunt. And then after the hunt, we'll start searching for him. And by then it's been, I don't know, 10, 12 hours or something like that. So hunt the afternoon, Joe shoots another doe. And when we get done with that, we go trail him. So as we're trailing him, I mean, it's drop, 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 drop. And I love trailing, blood trailing. Love it. I think I like that more than bow hunting, really, or shooting. And so we're kind of like leapfrogging on blood, and we get basically down to where this bedding area is, and we find wet blood, and this has now been easily 12 hours, if not more. And the blood was drying, right? And then we'd find a little bit of, you know, some puddles here and there. That's him, I think, trying to bed. Well, he's got that arrow in him. So he's you know, going to bed and get up, and, you know, he's uncomfortable. So I think we found a couple of him trying to bed. And then we get to the end of the trail for that day, and I find wet blood, and I'm like, he's still alive. We've got to back out, and we'll come back tomorrow morning. And that was the longest night ever. Longest night ever. So we come back the next morning, we pick up on that blood trail. It goes into bedding, and we find where he actually bedded, and tons of blood. Well, he wasn't in that bed. So, you know, we've been trailing now for probably 250 yards, something like that. And I'm very much, I'm going to stay on blood. And Joe was kind of like, you know, zigzagging and kind of looking outside of where there was blood to try to see if he can see an antler or something, right? So Joe goes up a bit, and he's looking at his map, and pretty much this buck has followed a straight line, you know, south of where we were. So he was, you know, stayed on that straight line, kind of zigzagging around, and I can't find any more blood. And it's this thick grass, high grass. And he goes, "Stu, come here." And I'm like, okay. And he comes, he's like, "I think I smell him." And I'm like, okay. So the wind is like blowing south into our face, or, you know, from the south blowing into our face. And I'm like, I can smell him too. He's like, I bet he's like 20 or so yards up there. So I'm like, okay. So I'm going. And sure enough, I look to my right, and he's laying there, and, you know, he's dead. And he had been dead for, you know, probably a while. I think he died, you know, that night at some point. Ended up recovering him. And moral of the story is, you know, as far back or as bad of a shot as you think you made, it's a dead animal.
It's a matter of when. Yeah.
So I think you know, the further you get close to the front shoulder and shoulder blade and all that, you know, if you hit one in the shoulder, they're probably going to live, depending on, you know, the situation or whatever. But, you know, liver and back, it's a dead animal. Take your time. We took as much time. I did not want to rush anything at all, and that was certainly the right call. And we ended up recovering it. And yeah, it was a farther back shot than even I would have thought. I think it got some you got guts, and it got liver. It got no lung. So, but yeah, we were absolutely pumped to recover that buck.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Pretty thrilled, but yeah, it was a long couple of days for me.
Oh yeah, it's so hard because nobody ever wants to be, you always want to find it when you shoot it, but nobody wants to be having that feeling that it's, it's walking around with an arrow stuck in it and it's not dead yet, right?
Yep.
And it's and then you start, everything goes through your mind, like, are we going to find it? Are we not? Is it the weather going to change? And that's going to screw up, the blood trail and all that. So it's very nerve-wracking.
It is. It's a terrible, terrible feeling, as the archer, right? So we put in, I don't know how many hours and hours and reps and different situations that you prepare for. And, you can have everything dialed in, your bow dialed in, you're dialed in. And, in the moment, you have to make a game call, you have to call a shot on, while it's going on that of your judgment. Right. And I judged it wrong. And that it bothers me, that does bother me that I made the wrong call. I wish I'd have made a better call. But in that moment, I thought what I did was right. I thought the shot that I made was better than it was. But I think you just, play the card you're dealt.
Yeah, and I mean, you do this long enough, you're going to have that happen more than once.
Like if I go back in all of my bow hunting career, there's definitely been a lot. There's been issues like that.
Well, for sure.
But it doesn't make you feel any better.
No, but it also helps. It helps mold us into who we are, and if people start giving other people a hard time about that, well, you just haven't done it long enough. Like, it's gonna happen, right?
It will happen. You're at some point you're gonna hit a shoulder blade. At some point, you're gonna hit no man's land. At some point you're gonna hit only brisket. At some point you're gonna gut shoot. At some point you're gonna hit a liver shot, and you're gonna rush the tracking job, and you're never gonna find that deer. Like, these are all just lessons that you learn. And I think what you do after that is what matters. And I know that's kind of cliche to say, but after that, yes, we could have rushed it and tried to go find him and everything else. But the next best call is wait. The next best call is back out.
Yeah.
And you'll recover it.
Just want to take a quick break to talk to you about a couple of things that I've been using that I think might benefit you. One is this Numa Outdoors gear. This is in their Kaza OV pattern, which is great whitetail pattern when you're up in a tree in the fall and late season. They also have a Kaza pattern which has more green in it, which is good for spring through to the fall. Numa has given me a code to give to you of Caribou Media 20, which will save you 20% at checkout. Another product here that I've been using for years now is the Bulldog targets. This is a Canadian made target. They're made in Manitoba. They have a lifetime warranty. I've used that warranty twice now on a couple of my larger targets that are outside. It's very simple, very easy. These targets are 2-finger removal every single time, which is incredible. Field point only target. Bulldog's been gracious enough to give me a 20% discount code to give to you at checkout. Use code BD20-Caribou-Media. That'll save you 20% on these awesome targets. Now back to the show. Yeah, like the first bear I ever shot, I shot right at the shoulder, and we never found him. And he ran forever. Like, I remember hearing him running, and we ended up going back to look for him, which was not the right call.
Yeah,
I don't think he was anywhere near where we were looking at that time anyway. But still, we never found him. So it's always good to just be patient, be smart, and just wait it out. Yeah, because who knows? You could have just kept pushing them, right?
And this, as I said before, bow hunting is not an easy sport. What we do and try to accomplish is hats off to people that do it, stick with it, and become successful. It is a hard sport, you know, but at the same time, it's probably one of the most rewarding sports I've ever done.
Well, for sure. Yeah. Any new stuff, any gear that you've come across this year that you've been playing with, that you've any changes to the setup at all?
So, I mean, bow's totally changed. Arrow,
Right.
you know, basically the same arrow. We
Okay.
use the experimental. It's now, you know, the 5.0. I am going to play with those FMJ Maxes.
Yeah.
We changed releases this year. We, you know, started shooting some stands.
Hey, okay.
And played with the stand clicker a bit as well, which also that whole Ohio debacle was with a stand clicker, which I should have not been shooting the clicker because I thought I was, you know, kind of used to the process, and I think that partly had something to do with it. But I think that'll be a great off-season, you know, option. So that's something that's changed. I mean, tree stand wise, I have a new Lone Wolf 0.75 setup. And also I've been playing with Latitude saddles. And Joe, so I've hunted in saddles before. I've never hunted with Latitude setup until this year. Joe, it was his first year with the saddle. And that was day one when he shot Hightower. He's like, well, I'm going to just go throw this saddle thing up and give this thing a try and just, you know, whatever. Oh, well, he got up in that saddle and he was like, dude, this is amazing. So
incredible. I love it. Every time I'm in mine, I'm just like, I can do whatever I want up here.
No, there's a lot of pros with it.
Yeah.
And like this year, since Ohio, I've not hunted for myself at all. I've been trying to get my son, you know, on a deer with his bow. So I've got him set up in the Lone Wolf, and I've got my Latitude platform behind him filming. So you at some point will see my son, you know, taking his first bow kill on film, which I think, again, that's another thing. Joe kind of pushed me. He's like, dude, you got to get that. I'm like, you know what? You're absolutely right. I will lug this thing around and we'll get that memory down. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Were you always shooting a thumb button, or were you shooting a hinge at all?
I've never been a hinge. I've never hunted with a hinge. So I shoot. So my typical like archery practice routine for years now, I don't know how many years, is I always start with a hinge. And I will shoot, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrows or whatever with my hinge, as long as it's clean.
Yep.
And then I will go to my thumb button. And that has always kind of been my practice routine to kind of keep myself true. And I did develop with that clicker a little bit of like anticipation.
Yeah.
So I had to get off of it. I had to go back to my hinge, and a hinge with no click is what I find will absolutely cure you of anticipating a shot. So I've got 2 hinge releases. I've got the UV2 and I've got a UV1 with no click in it.
Okay.
And, you know, depending on how bad I am and how much work I need in my process, it'll be click or no click. And if it's really bad, it's no click. It straightens me right up.
Yeah, I was using the Onyx clicker for a couple of years now. Love that thing.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine let me shoot his hinge too.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I was kind of staying away from them because of, well, hinges in general, because of, you know, how you have to kind of pull back. You have to, you know, it's just weird. It felt weird. How you have to, basically, you're pulling back with 1 or 2 fingers, because if you go too far, you'll end up setting it off, unless you're shooting this one, right? Unless you're shooting the hinge too.
I was just about to say, so the UltraView's design of a hinge is probably the coldest design of a hinge that I think probably exists. If you shoot Like I've got some Excels and different things like that are, you know, you're pulling back on your index and your thumb. And
Right.
if you're not, you're going to punch yourself in the face.
Right. So
that release is doable.
Yeah, when I found out that the hinge point, the actual hinge point, is farther down, so that you actually get that, and you can pull with your fingers, I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah.
And the first few shots, and I was like, "Damn it!" So I bought this one, and then I was like, "I love it, but it's really light." So I bought the stainless one too.
So you fell hard for that
hard.
So are you hunting with that?
Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah. My man.
Yeah, I'm like this. Well, it's in the stainless one's in my bino harness, but this one goes in the backpack, and I still have the thumb. So I'm like, I got releases for days, but I love this thing. I can't get enough of it. It's just and you can set it with a click or without if you just move it farther, past the. Oh, it's amazing.
No, it's a very comfortable, and I would say anyone that's thinking about trying a hinge, to me that is the safest, and not that anything's unsafe. What I mean is probably the easiest or
the easiest transition,
shortest learning curve on a hinge is that release.
Yeah,
for all the reasons you just said.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So
yeah,
I fell hard for this thing.
Yeah,
and then I hear, don't know for certain, but I can only assume if there's a 1 and there's a 2, a 3 is probably coming. So I don't know what they're going to do to it. I don't know if they're going to try and close it somehow so you can hang it on your string. I don't know if that's even possible to do for this. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea, but
I don't know either. But
I think it's great. I love it.
Yeah, and I think, to me, UV, the button and the hinge, how they've designed the hinge is probably one of the most comfortable feeling, like naturally comfortable feeling releases. My only, I guess, complaint, if this is even a complaint, is on the button and the hinge, I guess, as well, is the neck on it's pretty long.
Yeah. So would you say they kind of mirror the same shape if you went from one or the other? Yeah. Okay.
And that's the beauty of if you stay in the UV, release universe, is lengthwise, and it's not really your draw length. Really, it's not what changes. It's your anchor point that changes, because your draw length is
so the same
string angle and all that, and then the length of your D loop, and then the length of your release is what kind of determines where you're going to anchor in that. So if someone is shooting a UV button and they want to get a hinge, if they get, another hinge which has a short neck or a neck that's not able to adjust, it's not going to feel the same. You're not going to have a very similar anchor point. That is interchangeable. You can shoot UV button and you can shoot that, and you're money.
Yeah, everybody, I have a couple of guys saying, so you're going to get at the button? You're going to pick up the button? I'm like, no, I don't want to touch that thing.
The button,
I fell this hard for this thing. I don't want to touch
it. It's such a comfortable release.
Yeah.
Joe and I've killed a lot of stuff with a UV button.
I probably will at some point. I can see that. I love how the actual, I guess the rubber knob that goes over the end, how it kind of curls.
Yeah.
So it just looks like it would just be an awesome feel on your thumb.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a great release.
Yeah. Anything else? What about any backpack changes or anything like that?
For whitetail, we've been using the Mystery Ranch Treehouse.
Oh,
which
love it.
Which is a banging backpack. Like, so I know there's 3 sizes. I think I have the 20 liter, whatever the middle size is.
Okay. Yep.
Is that right? I don't know, but
yeah, I know that there's 3. I think the 38 is the biggest one.
I thought there was like a 16, a 20 something, and a 30 something.
And a 30 something. Yeah, no, you're right. I love the
I got the middle one.
I love a lot of things about it, but the texture, the feel of the material on the outside is so soft. It's like,
Yeah, well, that's so
can't
that
even
was
try to make noise with that thing.
the thing with that backpack is the fleece material is quiet. Also, how the top, like, you've got a hook. You can buckle it if you want, but you've got a hook as well. The hook is noise. It doesn't make any noise. It's silent. And then that top lid rolls over, and then you've got a place for your calls or your phone, and it has a strap which goes around the tree. So you're not like having to hang a strap, put a hanger, put your bow on it. It's a pretty brilliant setup. It's got stiff walls on it, so like I can throw my camera down in there. How it's set up is I'm pretty pleased with that. So that's been a cool addition.
Yeah, I've had both. I had the original one when it was like a bar. I think it was like a gray color, and then they came out with this one. They did a lot of upgrades to it. Like you've got double pockets on both sides.
Yep.
And the fact that you can access that top lid on the outside and on the inside when you flip it open is amazing. Like you said, when you actually open the bag, it only opens to a 45-degree angle, so you don't lose all your stuff down on the ground. Like it's just pockets on the inside. But that wraparound is one of my favorite. I just did it yesterday when I was up there. I'm like, I don't even have to screw a hook in here. It's just
it's beautiful. I mean, for a whitetail pack, that one for me is really, really tough to beat.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have a shelf or anything, so you're not going to really haul anything crazy with it, but you don't really need to, right?
I don't, anyway. So
yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so I think, so I mean, there's actually been a lot of gear changes now that I think about it, but but yeah, that pack has been awesome.
Wicked.
So
okay. Somehow I got onto this a few weeks ago, and it's now turned into a question I'm asking.
I already know what this question is.
I already know. I think I already know your answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you hunt with your quiver on or off when you're in a tree?
So whitetail hunting in a tree, my quiver comes off.
Ah, damn it. Why? Why does everybody do that? Why is that a thing?
I don't like shit on my bow.
Okay, it's fair.
I absolutely despise having stuff hanging off my bow. Now,
even how light they are, like they don't even you can't even really.
So it's just something else to get caught on something. It's something else that's in the way. For me, I mean, imagine if you practice with it and whatever else, that's fine. I know there's the argument of like, well, if I need a follow-up shot, my arrow's there, I can do a follow-up shot. But so what I do is I have my treehouse backpack now, right? I open my lid. I take my camera out in my arm. I set that stuff up. It's sitting there on for me, I'm left-handed, my left side. I take my quiver off and I shove the top of the quiver down into the pack, and my arrows are sticking up where I can grab an arrow for a follow-up shot.
Yeah.
So I don't like doing this and pulling an arrow around. To me, is just as much movement as me just reaching over here and pulling an arrow out and putting it in my
right.
My
so that makes sense. I can see that. It's when you see people take it off and they attach it to themselves, or they're hooking it somewhere else down here, and it's like you're just kind of making it harder for yourself. That's what I think, and I just worry about things falling out all the time.
So for whitetail, people attach it to themselves, or
no, sorry, that's a bad example. That's been more of a Western thing. I think I've seen a few.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen Chris B do it. I've seen Levi do it. I mean, and I think for them though, they're coming from the target world where again they don't like stuff on their bow. Right. Probably right. Now for Western hunts, I've always left my quiver on, but I have to really practice. I leave it on. I practice with it, and I get used to it. And here's the other argument of it. Once I get used to it and I have it on, it shoots fine. I can shoot at 80 yards with a quiver on, and it's no big deal.
Oh, would you look at that?
But I guess it's just something I've done since I was probably 14 years old bow hunting. My dad always take the quiver off, and back then you had these like quickie quiver attachments, and we had one attached to the tree stand, and I'd take the quiver off, I'd slide it in, and get my quiver.
I think that's probably where this whole thing stems from, is that it was just ingrained in you from a young age, right?
Well, quivers back then sucked. They were loud. You would shoot and it would rattle to death, and you may even have an arrow rattle out of your quiver. I mean, they were horrible. So it's just something I just got used to doing it, I guess.
Yeah. Now every time I post a picture when I'm in the tree, I always get at least one comment: "Take that damn quiver off your bow." And I'm like, no, no.
It's whatever you're used to, whatever process that you're okay with. I mean, just do that process. Exactly. But so even in the saddle, like, so if you have your bow hanging and you have your quiver on your bow, and like, say you have to take your bow and go over your bridge, right? Or your tether and bridge and all that. I mean, I just feel like it can get caught on something, like things go wrong. And so like,
it totally could in that.
Like when I'm like in a hunting situation, I'm thinking of scenarios and steps of like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Like, I'm always like, I'm like a risk manager in this situation, and like, what I'm going to do here, what am I going to do there? So, if I draw back and my arrow is going to move here, do I have clearance? Does my stabilizer have clearance? So I'm always like thinking of these things. And to me, that quiver could be a risk.
Could get caught. Yeah. No, see, you're the first one to bring that up. That's a good point.
I don't know, but hey, each their own. Do your thing.
Yeah, that's right. Do what you do. And
flag fly, man.
Okay, next time I go out, I'll try taking it off.
No, well, if something goes wrong and
it's gonna screw it up for me,
or you need a follow-up shot and it's not where you want it,
I'm gonna blame all of you. Just kidding. Oh yeah, I've been eyeing those the Maxes as well. They just look cool. I've never shot any of the ones that have aluminum or the X10s, I guess, when they're reversed. Although, did you see that they've come out with a new target arrow that's even smaller?
Yeah. I have seen that. That is pretty cool. I mean, I grew up shooting aluminum arrows. I mean, I shot double X75s or double X78s if we really had some money, cut a few extra yards or something, I could buy some 78s. But now I will say on that build, I don't put 50 grains of brass up front. I just use a standard insert. Otherwise, the build would get heavy pretty quick. But here is something interesting: is I shot groups with my 5.0 with high FOC. I shot groups with my FMJ Max. I would assume it's a much lower FOC with a standard insert and a heavier GPI shaft. And I shot them at many yardages, and the groups were all awesome either way you cut it. Now, I know there's arguments of wind, and there's arguments of maybe penetration, or there's arguments of whatever, but yeah, I don't know. But I've not harvested anything yet with the FMJs, but plan on it.
Yeah, I think the only real complaint people either have brought up is the fact that if they do hit something, they don't necessarily bounce back as a whole carbon arrow would. So you run the risk of them wobbling and then they're useless. But that's really the only thing that I've heard, that they're pretty stout on their own. So that's not going to happen. Like, it takes a serious hit to do something like that, or multiple. But I think that's really,
if you want, I wouldn't buy them for that, or buy them for any other reason other than you want a heavier build. So if you're going and you want to shoot a heavy arrow, I'm not going to go to a 5.0, because you would have to go out, really high in spine from wherever you are. And there's a limit to that. And then when you're over spine, you got to put a lot of weight up front. to make it, to make it tune.
Right.
So there's just easier ways if you want to achieve an overall heavier arrow weight, and that is one way is you pick a shaft with a higher GPI. So like I said, with the bows and weights and all that, what are you trying to accomplish?
Right. You might have to jump over the axis at that point. Which, do you think they'd ever get rid of that? It's been around for 20 years. You think it'll phase out?
I wouldn't. That 5mm axis is a hard to beat arrow. It's the same thing. If you want a heavier arrow overall and you don't want to shoot aluminum and you want it to be, a carbon build, the 5mm, you can also achieve a higher total arrow weight, by going that route, and have all the durability and not have to worry about bending. I mean, there's options for everything.
Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Some great stories there. Can you tell everybody how they can find you? And I was going to say, you guys have a new company now, right? You came together.
We do. So we've got the Zero Media Collective, and that's the zeromediacollective.com. So that's where, if you want to reach out, you need any work done, certain companies can look at, the body of work there and reach out to Joe or I. And we're happy to look at what your needs are and make you look good.
Make you look good doing it. That's awesome.
And then other than that, you can find me on Instagram, SG Holmes. Same on YouTube. I do some reviews and stuff like that, which I haven't done in a while, so I'm going to start kicking that back up. I've actually got one going with the ARC.
Good.
Need to finish some footage there, and you will be seeing my son's first bow kill ever.
Amazing.
On film. So pretty pumped about that.
That's awesome. Sights, are you more of a 3-pin vertical guy or horizontal?
I like horizontal. So
okay.
Yeah. So my philosophy to my liking, when you have a vertical post, unless that vertical post is really, really thin, I can't see what's in between my pin gaps. And for me, visually, I like to see, if I'm having to shoot a pin gap and I'm having to shoot between my first and second or second and third pin, I like to see where that is. Right. And with a vertical pin, I can't see that. Horizontal, I can see everything in between. The horizontal doesn't mess with my sight picture. And again, I've been shooting horizontal pins since I was a kid. Like I'm used to that. So that's just my preference.
And then do you set it up 20, 30, 40, 50 kind of thing? Or do you do 25? How do you space yours out?
Typically I am 20, 30, 40, and then it's on a slider. And if I need to slide, I slide. I think though, with how fast some of the bows are, I am reconsidering.
They're getting real close together.
You could even go 30, 40, 50. And my 30 pin, the difference in my 30 pin and 20 pin is like an inch and a half.
Yeah.
Do I need it? So I am reconsidering that, especially for Western hunts and stuff like that. Just kind of starting in a different place.
Farther down the tape.
Yep, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. And you guys were shooting the proof this year? Yeah. What do you think of have you seen the new Mag 3 VA that they're coming out with?
Yep, I have seen it. I think it's going to be an awesome mag. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. Again, vertical. I think, I like to try everything, right? So, I'd be open to trying a vertical setup that have adjustable 3 pins. But I think that will be a hot one. I think, a lot of people, since Spot Hog had the triple stack, and then Black Gold, I know it's like the dual track or whatever it is where the 2 pins move, but I think that will be a big seller for a lot of folks.
Yeah, because I don't know, I think some people have a hard time with, when I set mine up, I think I'm at 20. Well, I know I'm at 20, 35, and 50 are my 3. So as long as you know that, and you've got that embedded in your brain, you'll be able to adjust when the time comes. But I think some people don't want to have numbers like that. They'd rather have the straight, even though you're not necessarily going to shoot an animal at exactly 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever.
Yeah.
Having that as a base almost makes it feel a little safer for them. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could be. I think it's even numbers. It's easy to keep up with.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm always big on, once I have those pins set, like especially before hunts or hunting season, I do a lot of like pin gap shooting. So I know, like, I will shoot, you know, I'll start at 20, and I know really from 20 to probably 27, my first pin is my first pin. But then as that arrow starts to drop, I know, okay, if I'm at 28 or 29, it's probably, you know, 30 pin low. Or, you know, and then from my 30, I'll back up and I'll shoot one at every yard until I find where it starts to drop. And then I know, okay, I know my takeover point between which pins and whether I need to hold high or low. But I do a ton of gap shooting on a 3D target, and I almost I don't shoot dots at all approaching hunting season. It's all got a 3D target.
Yeah, visualize.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, dots are fine, but if you can't get your sight picture on an animal, especially once you get, you know, say 50 yards and beyond where your pin needs to sit, you know, that's a problem. So
yeah, absolutely. Awesome. All right. Thank you very much. Good luck with the rut in January. So if it kicks off in January, when do you have to stop?
So end of our season's like usually middle of February.
Middle of February.
Oh. And there's still rutting in February.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Yeah, we're done December 31st where I am. So.
Shoot, Joe's goes to February as well in Ohio.
What?
Yes. He can still bow hunt through February.
That's wild. Amazing.
You gotta move down south, man.
Yep. There's so much. Yeah. Definitely. All right. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.